Welcome one, welcome all, and welcome to an honest review of 2002's Ju-On, The Grudge. This is another one of my international movie reviews, and I'm going to be joined by the second northern part of our podcast. Anyway, a man, Takeo, discovers his wife is in love with a different man, so he goes in a bit of a blind rage and murders her and their son and their cat, which is called Ma, by the way, actually has a name. But anyway, the extreme rage of all that murder and shit created a curse, bringing the family back to life as some murderous, ghosty kind of Japanese Casper. The curse, it's contained to their house, but whoever enters their house also gets cursed and followed. And when that person finally dies, it spreads to there and repeats everywhere.
Yes, it's like a curse that continuously jumps from like a person into another person as like a host, and it's all linked to, as you say, the family house, which is the Tokunaga house. And what I love most about this film is the structure of it, because it starts off with Rika, who's like a social welfare worker, and she goes to the Tokunaga house to care after an old woman called Sachi, and she just stares aimlessly into like the distance, and Rika decides to have a look about the house and hears some scratching noises upstairs coming from inside a wardrobe which has been taped shut around the edges. And when Rika looks inside, there's a little boy named Toshio, and then going back downstairs to see Sachi again, there's the shadowy demon with the death rattle croaky throat that kills Sachi. But then from there on out, that's kind of like the first chapter of the film, and every chapter we get more context with a new character. So in this case, once we see everything that happens with Rika and Toshio and Sachi in the first chapter, then it moves on so that we see Sachi when she was a little bit younger and see her family that were in the photo that Rika finds in the first chapter. So it's like every time the film jumps to a new chapter, we learn more about the history of the house and the history of the curse, which is really cool. And it kind of goes back and forward in time, and we kind of see more people over the course of the film get added to the mix of characters and learn how they're all connected to the curse, which is really cool.
It is absolutely crazy, because like watching it initially, I'm very confused.
Yeah, I guess for me, like, not so much like a shockingly scary film, but definitely eerie. I think there's something in Japanese culture and Japanese urban legends what
they just do it well.
They do it very well, yeah. Like they've got loads of things like teke teke and things.
I kind of like the way that you see the characters get visibly affected by the curse, rather than seeing the curse touching them and stuff. Tokunaga family, Katsuya is the main man in that family. He sees the dead kid. He sees Toshio, who fucking screams like a cat.
He does, yeah. Why the fuck's he making cat noises?
I know, it's weird. Anyway, Katsuya gets touched by the curse, doesn't he? And he gets affected with it. You can see him getting so strange because he tells his sister that his wife is cheating and the kid is not his. You just see his face go blank when he's telling that story, and you know that that's the spirit of the father from the original curse.
Yes.
And because it's just getting inside him. I really like that they added that in instead of just making him zone out.
Yeah, that was a really nicely done sequence, that, yeah. What I would say is that it is quite hard to track a lot of the film, because even though I really like the element that there are a lot of characters in there and it kind of shows you their interconnected relationships, it's tough on your first watch. I think it would be a film that improves on subsequent watches when you kind of have more of a feel of who each person is, because there's a lot to take in, especially when it's like Christopher Nolan style, and it's like in the present, then it's in the past, then back to the present, then in the future, then back to the past again. Especially when you got so many characters, like you've got Rika, Toshio, Sachi, Kazumi, Hitoshi, Toyama.
Yeah, Toyama. The police are investigating something. They're bringing this Toyama who used to work on a previous unsolved case that related to the curse. He says he doesn't want to work on it, and they somehow convince him, and then it skips back to the past and shows him going to the house, seeing his daughter run away and two other people get murdered. Then we see him looking at camera footage of someone dying. This guy's looking at the camera footage. The Grudge kills someone and then comes towards the camera and stares at him through it.
Yes.
But in all of that was just happening, it was all just kind of like haphazard and back and forth.
Yeah, I see what you mean. It was just a bit kind of slipshod in a way.
It did add to the story and it made it make a little bit more sense, but each kind of segment of it is a bit jumbled.
Yeah, I do get that feeling, because it is back and forth to the extent where it's like, what point in the timeline are we even at now?
Yeah.
Do you think maybe with the American version they kind of dumbed it down a bit more to make like the Western audience comprehend it a bit easier?
I would think so, you know.
Yeah, probably. Big dumb Americans. We're gonna get Buffy the Vampire Slayer to fight the Grudge.
The Grudge.
That was our honest review of the Japanese version of the Grudge, the original Ju-on. Well, not the original Ju-on, but the original Ju-on the Grudge.
The original Grudge.
It's even hard to fucking talk about what it is.
It actually is. Which film is this? It's the original of the remake that was once made from this, but this is actually the third part in a series of films that spawned a prequel, a sequel, a bunch of American remakes that have prequels, sequels, and also, which Wikipedia calls a sidequel.
A sidequel?
Yes, there's a sidequel, which is the series on Netflix.
Sidequel's not a fucking word. Spin-off, man. What's a sidequel?
It says it on Wikipedia.
But if you would like to say any more sidequels to the international reviews, you can check out our Friday Fright Time horror reviews every guess what day of the week. And also Nightmare Fuels and some urban legends. Yes, you may find some Japanese urban legends down the line. But yeah, honest review of Ju-on completed. Kofi, anything else to say?
Definitely watch this film. Like, if you've seen the American one and you enjoyed it, I would suggest watching this film a lot, because it's just what started it. It'll just give you a bit more appreciation for the writers and directors, because it was the same director who worked on both films, by the way.
Thanks, Gold Gang. Join us next month for another international horror movie review. If you've got any suggestions for myself and Kofi, the Northeast combo big hitter, Mike Ashley, Saudi Arabian St. James's team, then throw them in the comments down below.